Hey guys, welcome back to Shristi Tech Academy. In today's video, let us discuss about Java-based configuration. Let us understand what is Java-based configuration, how to use it, and when to use Java-based configuration. Let us get started. Before jumping into the coding part, let us first understand what is Java-based configuration. Whenever you are working with Spring framework, Spring is responsible for creating the objects that are needed for your application. It is also responsible for injecting the dependencies that are needed for your Java objects. The Java objects created by Spring framework is called a Spring Bean. Spring framework uses the IOC container, inversion of control container, to create the Java objects that are needed for your application. So, the IOC container creates the Spring Beans. That is the Java objects. How does the IOC container know what are the Java objects that it has to create? For which classes it has to create objects? So, for that, the IOC container reads the metadata configuration. Let me put it using a pictorial representation. This is how your Spring architecture looks like. This is the IOC container, inversion of control container. We are feeding in the Java classes to the IOC container. The IOC container has to read from metadata configuration. Metadata, data about your application. The metadata configuration can be in the form of XML or annotations or Java-based configuration. XML is verbose. Now it is outdated. You can very well use annotations or Java-based configuration. You all know about the annotations that are used in Spring. That is, when a class is annotated with @component, the IOC container will automatically create an object for this class. Of course, if a class is annotated with @service or @repository, in all these scenarios, the IOC container can create objects for these classes. So, this is annotation-based metadata configuration. Then, what is Java-based configuration? How do we do it? Java-based. The name itself implies you need to create a separate class. Let me explain it. You need to create a separate class, let's say app_config, and this class should be annotated with @configuration. This class will have bean definitions. What are bean definitions? Bean definitions are nothing but methods, normal Java methods that are annotated with @bean. Let's say I am having an interface iGreetings with one single method welcome user, which takes string name as parameter, and let me have the return type as string. Now we can create an implementation class for this. Greetings IMPL. This implements iGreetings and we will implement the method. If you are working with annotation based configuration, it is simple that you will go and annotate the class with @component. Now we are not using annotation based configuration. We are working with Java based configuration. This means I need to create the bean definition. It is just a method that is annotated with @bean. The method should return an object of a class. So let me create a method. Greeter. The method name can be anything, but it should return an object of a class. Return new. In our case, the class name is Greetings IMPL. What about the return type? Of course, it should be the class name. Or I can also have it as iGreetings. It is our simple Java. Interface reference is equal to implementation class. The same thing I am following here. And this method should be annotated with @bean. When you are running this application, the moment the IOC container is getting created, the IOC container will come and read this particular class, the class that is annotated with @configuration. It will read all the bean definitions and create the Java objects and inject the appropriate dependencies. In our case, we are having one single bean definition, so it will create an object of greetings IMPL. What will be the name of the spring bean? If you are using at component annotation, the bean name will be same as that of the class name in camel case. So the bean name will be greetings IMPL in camel case. First letter G will be in lower case. What about Java based configuration? Here the bean name will be the method name. So our bean name will be greeter. Let us first try this out. First, let us create a Spring Boot application. File, new Spring Starter project. The application name is Spring Boot Java based. Type is Maven. Packaging is jar. Java version is 21. Group ID is com.example. Package also is com.example. Click next. We don't need any dependencies here. The starter package that is needed for us is available by default in pom.xml. Click finish. Now the application is ready. Let me open the main class. The main class is annotated with at Spring Boot application. This annotation itself is having at configuration. Let me show it to you. Let me click on this. I'll click on Spring Boot configuration. See, at configuration. The Spring Boot application annotation by itself is having at configuration, which means I can add bean definitions in the same class, but that is not the right approach. Always you have to create a separate class that is annotated with that configuration. Okay, first let us create the interface and the implementation class. Select your package, right click, new interface. Let me give the package name as com.example.greetings. The interface name is iGreetings. Let me add the method. The return type is string. Method name is welcome user. It takes string name as parameter. Okay. Now let us create the implementation class. Greetings IMPL. And this implements iGreetings. Keep the cursor, add unimplemented methods and write your logic. Let me simply add welcome plus name. Okay. Here we are not going to annotate this class with add component or add service. It is a simple Java class. We will be using Java based configuration to create an object of this class. Okay. Where will you create the app config class? Always create it in the main package. So select your package, right click, new class. Class name is app config. That is application configuration. That is the meaning. Annotate the class with add configuration. And let us add the bean definition. Bean definition is nothing but a method annotated with add bean. Okay. Here method name is the bean name. Okay. Now add bean. Let me give the method name as greeter. It should return new greetings IMPL. Let me have the return type as iGreetings. Okay. Import bean, save all. What next? We need to call this. Go to the main class. This has to run as a console based application. So make the main class implement, command line runner and override run method. Now that the IOC container is created and the Java object for this particular class is available, I can auto wire it here. Private iGreetings. Greetings. Either you can go in for setup based dependency injection or field based dependency injection. I am using field based dependency injection. Add at auto wired above the instance variable. Now directly we can call the method. Greetings dot welcome user by passing the name. Let me have the return type string message is equal to. So message. That's it. Now let me run the application. Run it as Spring Boot app. Click OK. And here we have got the output as welcome Shri. Okay, this is good. You might be wondering, when I am having a class and if I can annotate it with add component, why should I go in for Java based configuration? Is it not a waste of time, waste of writing an extra class? Guys, remember this Java based configuration is not for your user defined classes. It is for working with inbuilt classes. Whenever you need an object of inbuilt class, you cannot go and add component or add service annotation to those inbuilt classes. But still you need an object of an inbuilt class. In those scenarios, you will be using Java based configuration. Let's say you want to communicate between two REST APIs. Then you need an object of an inbuilt class, REST template. You cannot go and add those annotations to those inbuilt classes. So you are creating a separate class and you are creating an object of REST template using @bean annotation. Also, when you are working with security module, you need to create Java objects for inbuilt classes. So in those scenarios also, you will be using Java based configuration only. You will be creating a separate class and you will be adding the appropriate bean definitions. When you want to convert your entity into data access object or data access object into entity, you need to work with a third party library. So in that case, you need an object of the third party library. So you have to create a Java object using Java based configuration. So I hope it is clear. Now we will see few more things. What will happen if I am adding @component annotation here? In this case, the moment the class is annotated with @component, the IOC container will create an object of this class. The name of the bean will be greetings IMPL with G lowercase. Now the IOC container reads this app config. It is creating an object of greetings IMPL. The bean name here is greeter. Now in the main class, when you are auto wiring greetings, it is getting a confusion whether to pass this object or to pass this object because there are two implementations of the same class. Okay, so it will throw exception. Now let me run it. See here, there are two objects for greetings IMPL. This is from @component, this is from @bean. So explicitly you need to inform which bean you want to choose. So what I can do directly in the main class, together with auto wired, I can also add @qualifier by passing the bean name. See, this is a worst case scenario, hypothetical condition. Because you are learning it, you might be wondering what will happen if I add @component in greetings IMPL. So that is the reason I am showing it. So here I can add, both the objects are same, but still I will use the Java based one, greeter. Now save it and run it. Here we are getting the output. Welcome Shri. I hope it is clear. This is a worst case hypothetical scenario. I will show you one more use case where when there are more than one bean of the same type, how to pick and choose a particular one. Let me explain the example and then we will start the coding part. Let's say I am having an interface with the name iCourse, which is having a method show courses. The return type is a list of string. And let us have three implementations of iCourse. One is backend, then frontend, and cloud computing. And we need to implement these three methods here. I am not going to use annotations. Directly, I will create bean definitions for these three classes. Let us try this out. Now, select your package, right click, new interface. Let me give the package name as com.example.trial. Okay. The interface name is iCourse. Let me add the method. The return type is list of string. The method name is show courses. Import list. Now let us create the implementation class. Select your package, right click, new class. Class name is backend. And no annotations for this. Backend implements iCourse. Override the method. Return arrays.asList. Spring Java microservices. Similar to this, we need front-end and cloud computing. So I'll copy paste and modify the code. Control C, Control V, I'll change this to front end. And Control V again, cloud computing. Okay, now open the classes and change it. Similarly, open front end and change it. Okay, all set now. Let us go to the app config. We will create bean definition for these three classes. The first one is backend. So let me give the method name as backend. Return new backend. This should be annotated with @bean and the return type should be the interface name. In our case, it is iCourse. Okay. Similar to that, we need for front end and cloud computing. I'll copy paste and I'll modify. So the second one is front end. You can give any method name, front end. And the third one is cloud computing. So in this case, for one interface, we are having 3 implementation classes. Let me go to the main class. As usual, we need to auto-wire it. Private iCourse course. And let me add @auto-wire. Here also there is a confusion. When I write iCourse course, which implementation class will be injected? Will it be backend or cloud computing or front end? We really don't know. Spring also doesn't know. So it will throw an exception. We will see the exception also. First, let me call the method course.showCourses. This returns a list. So let me use for each to print it directly. System.out :println. Okay. Now let me run this. The moment I run it, automatically I will get an exception. Field course in Spring Boot Java based application required a single bean, but 3 were found. So what are they? Backend, front end or cloud computing. Okay. Now how to resolve it? You can resolve it in 2 ways. The first way is already you know that, which we have done it for the previous one. Here I can go and add @qualifier and provide the appropriate bean which has to be injected. If I want to inject backend, I can simply give backend. So what will be the meaning of this particular line? It will be something like iCourse course is equal to new backend. This is the meaning. Okay. Guys, in the previous case also it is the same meaning, but we are having 2 objects of the same class. So we are using @qualifier. Here we are having 3 different implementation for one single interface. I need to pick and choose one. So we have used @qualifier. Okay, now let me run it. So this time I should get the output for backend courses. This is okay. I don't know who is writing this class. If you are working with Java based configuration, there is also one other way of resolving this issue. I will comment it. I will show you the solution that is provided. I am running it. This is the error message. See in the end what is the action that you need to take. Consider marking one of the beans as primary, updating the consumer to accept multiple beans, or use qualifier to identify the bean that should be consumed. We have seen how to use qualifier. Now I am commenting qualifier. I will go to app config. I will pick and choose one particular bean and annotate it with @primary. No need to pass any parameters. I am informing the IOC container this bean has got the highest priority than the other 2 beans. So this bean should be injected when someone is asking for iCourse. So now here it is getting changed to iCourse is equal to new front end. This is how it looks like. Okay. Now let me run this. Save all and run it. Because we have used @primary, front end is selected to be the primary bean. We are getting the output for front end. Okay. Now you might be wondering, what will happen if I use @primary and at the same @qualifier? Which will have the highest priority? Obviously @qualifier will have the highest priority. The moment the application starts, the IOC container is first getting created. The IOC container will go and read app config. It will create all the Spring beans by reading the bean definition. Then for iCourse, it will automatically inject front end because front end is the primary bean. But when it is getting auto-wired, you have added at qualifier. Now this course reference will point to backend. From front end, it will start pointing to backend. So course is equal to now, it is pointing to backend. What will be the output you will be getting? You will be getting it for backend. I hope it is clear. Now let me quickly review what we have seen. What is Java-based configuration? Java-based configuration is a metadata configuration that is used by the IOC container to create the Spring Beans. How do you create or work with Java-based configuration? Simply create a Java class that is annotated with @configuration. Add bean definitions. The bean definitions are simple methods that are annotated with @bean. The method name is the Spring Bean name. Each method should return an object of a particular class. When to use Java-based configuration? Whenever you are working with inbuilt classes, let's say you want to communicate between two REST APIs, you need an object of REST template. If you want to convert your DAO into entity into DAO, you need a third-party library like model mapper. If you are working with authentication and authorization, you need objects of password encoder, authentication bean, security filter chain. If you are integrating your application with a database, you need an object of data source. In all these cases, you need objects of inbuilt classes. So, use Java-based configuration. Create bean definitions. Add methods that will return objects of these classes. You can also use Java-based configuration when you are working with profiles. We will discuss about that in one other video. This is all about Java-based configuration. See you in one other video. That's it. Thank you.